So the question is, are the American people not getting what they're paying for in terms of federal oversight in some vitally important areas of our life?
Well, here's what happened at the agency that was responsible in the Department of Interior for overseeing these oil companies. There was just horrible scandal that was taking place prior to me taking office. And this has been documented by the IG. There was all kinds of corruption taking place, very blatant stuff. Ken Salazar, my Secretary of Interior, came in and he cleaned up the corruption. He cleaned up just the crass stuff that in some cases was illegal. What we didn't do fast enough was change a culture in which the oil companies have so much influence over the regulators, have more information, have more resources, have more technical capacity, that essentially even a well-meaning bureaucrat inside these agencies just feels overwhelmed.
But we're still living in that
right.
system. It boggles the mind. This is what happens when we've had a disaster at one well.
Right.
There are thousands
of
wells
them out there.
And so you must have spent a lot of time thinking, what would happen if there were multiple failures at one time?
It is a huge problem, both in terms of the SEC, right now in terms of oversight of oil. The regulations that were in place were inadequate to prevent against worst-case scenarios and big risks. Everybody was saying that there's no housing bubble, the stock market's fine, and any attempts at regulation is anti-free market until the entire thing broke down. And then the federal government's expected to come in and clean it up, and as soon as it's cleaned up, well, get off our backs, we don't want to re-regulate. And so now, during our financial regulations debate in Congress, some of the same folks who had been resisting regulation before are back at it saying, you can't meddle in the markets. Well, the same thing's going to happen on this oil issue. I mean, what you're going to start seeing immediately is, as we say we've got to tighten up regulations on the oil companies, there's going to be a lot of hue and cry about, look at the Obama administration trying to meddle too much in the market. And the point I want to make is this, and I think the American people deserve a good debate about this. I am a believer in the free market. I'm a believer in the stock market. I'm a believer in financial sophistication. It can potentially improve economic growth in our economy. I believe that we're going to need to increase domestic oil production. But we can't do these things unless we've got confidence that somebody's looking over the shoulder of these folks, because these systems are now too complicated for us to simply say, you know what, you can go do what you want. The consequences of catastrophe now are much larger than they have ever been, and we've got to have a government that can oversee these folks in a serious way.